Hey everybody, so in this video I wanted to go over a little bit about annotation. So what I have here is a sample that I'm going to post for you. This is a sample of what an annotation would look like if you did it on your computer. There are instructions about how you can if you decide to print an article, how you can write on that and then upload a picture. That's fine by me. This example is just going to show you kind of the volume of comments that you want on your paper and maybe give you some inspiration of the kinds of things that you might want to write in your annotation. So once you've selected an article, you've picked an article, you've gone through the evaluation stage of it, you filled out that worksheet about evaluating it for crap, then you're going to annotate it. So this is the basic breakdown of what I did. I copy and pasted the article. So this was an example of an internet article. I found it from the New York Times, which I think it says in here. Oh, maybe I erased that part. I'm going to add that in as actually, I'll add in source. So I cut and pasted this from online, and when I did that, there were a bunch of photos and like weird stuff because that's how news sites are online, but I just went through and erased those things so it's a little bit cleaner to look at. If you are able to download a PDF because you found maybe an academic article, that's great too. So all I did was I cut and pasted it in here and got rid of any of like the weird formatting stuff. So I left a couple pictures in, but I got rid of anything that just made it look kind of junky that I wouldn't be commenting on anyway. So I left the title and the authors. So this is basically what I've done. And if you want, you can put these exact same, I'll put them in bold. You can put these exact same notes. Obviously not what I wrote here, not the answers, but you can put, you can look for these exact same things in your article, like the main idea, the tone, the audience, the structure. It would be another really good one to add in is genre. And this genre is a news article it's from the New York Times. So this is the genre is a news article. You might have a study, you might have a report, you might have an academic article. Those are some other genres that you might encounter. What I'm looking at is a news article. So basically what I'm doing in this process of annotation is I am getting to know my article better. I am reading the whole thing, I'm evaluating it, I'm marking it up, and I'm really digging into what it's saying. So after looking through it and evaluating it and getting a little bit more in depth with the evaluation of it, now I'm really going to make sure that I'm reading the heck out of this thing. So the purpose of annotating is to get your ideas out and to engage with the text and to learn more about the text. So these are some things that might be helpful for me to know going forward, like what's the main idea? What's the tone? Who is this written for? What is the structure of this? Now, this one might be a little bit weird, but I included it because if you look at the article I have, it's set up so that it kind of goes like it's organized. I can say like structure / organization. If you've ever learned about organizational patterns, this would be a great place to put it. Organization. So the way that this article is organized is that it kind of goes over different specific hospitals in different areas of New York and gives statistics and does interviews within those particular hospitals, kind of like one by one. Bias check. So I went through and saw, okay, was this biased? Was this not? And genre, what type of article is it? Where did it come from? And then I have a key to my annotations here because I've done some highlighting that's color coded. So if I found a positive connotation, I highlighted it. If I found a negative connotation, I highlighted it. If I found an emotive word that I couldn't quite tell if it was positive or negative, I highlighted it. You can see going down here that I have comments all over the side, and I also have lots of underlined things. In these comments on the side, I have things like definitions. I have some comments that are stupid. I have some comments that are helpful. I added a text box that says this is the most impressive / useful stat because I think that if I were to incorporate this in some kind of writing, this is the best stat in the whole article. So you can see that it isn't just on one page. Every single page of this document is marked up. And I have all kinds of comments that you can look at. Some of them are just thoughts that I have to myself. Some of them are clarifying. So it said Monday, and I looked at, I was like, okay, that was September 27th. I would like to know what date specifically it was talking about. You can see right here, I have a definition. I wanted to make sure I was clear on what a mandate was. So I just went on to, like, I just Googled it, and the first dictionary hit that came up, I copy and pasted the definition right in here so that I know exactly what a mandate is. You can see for each of these people, I looked them up, and these I just cut and pasted their bios in here so I would know a little bit about them to make sure that they have some authority on the subject they're talking about. They both work for the New York Times, so they live in New York, and they both work reporting on the healthcare industry. So I find that pretty trustworthy. And it's just good to know. Here I'm making a connection to other articles I've read. Here I'm identifying that this is a counterpoint. Here I'm having a thought. You can see, like, here I even say, like, stupid stuff. Like, I never knew that bellwether, which I don't think is actually spelled correctly. I think it's with one L, was an indicator or predictor of something, and I think it comes from shepherding or sheep herding. I wasn't sure which. Like, don't make your entire thing dumb stuff, but you don't have to censor yourself. If you want to highlight something and say, wow, that's totally fine to do. What you're trying to do here is engage with the text and make sure that you fully understand it and also that you fully read it. Let's be honest. So as we go through and look at this, this is one way to force yourself to make sure you read it. You can see that I'm kind of making notes like, okay, this is a quote from the unvaccinated side. Here, I want to know more about why this is an issue, what's going on with this issue, if this is what people are claiming as a religious exemption. I don't know much about this, so I want to learn more. Here, I comment on the photo itself. Here, I'm like thinking in my head about my personal connection to this article and the thoughts running through my head, which is also fine. I'm making a connection here because it says that they actually were higher than their estimated number, and somebody else in the article says that they were surprised how much above their numbers they went as well. So I'm making connections with other parts of the articles. I'm identifying that this quote is from somebody who's in favor of vaccination. This I'm pointing out as a really effective stat that they predicted 400 staff departures, but in the end, only 276 unvaccinated workers were placed on leave. So again, expectations are actually coming out higher than expected. More people seem to be getting the vaccine than people were thinking, which I made a connection. One of the articles that I think that we're reading talks about, I think one of the EBSCOhost ones, if you chose that, I think talks about how there's some skepticism as to whether mandates will be effective, but this article has a lot of facts to indicate that in this case, they have been effective. Another impressive stat. So 20% of a hospital in the Bronx, only 3,000, or there were 3,000 staff members who'd had yet to get their first dose by Tuesday. Only 3% remained unvaccinated. So that seems like a pretty effective statistic in terms of efficacy. Here's what I was talking about. This guy was pretty skeptical. And then it ends with a quote that reminded me of critical thinking. And you can see that I kind of talk about my own stuff. And I make comments like, that's powerful. This guy's skeptical. This is just me engaging with the article, and this is what I want you to do. And then the last thing I'm going to show you guys is just how to make, though, if you don't know how to make these comments, you just highlight, and then up here under review, it's like this in Google Docs, but slightly different. So if you kind of play around, you should be able to find this. You can choose new comment. And so it'll just pop up with a comment, and you can type what you want in there. And then highlighting is just right here. Underlining is right here. You can use hotkeys like Control U to do underlining, stuff like that. If you want to insert a text box, insert text box here. Whatever you want to do, mark the heck out of this article. Whichever article you've chosen, and I have given you a little feedback to approve it.